Hello, everyone. We took part in a tour at the Royal Canadian Mint, but not unexpectedly, the security was so high they wouldn't allow photos or video. If you pulled out your phone during the tour, they would tell you to put it back. So the only place you were allowed to take photos was in their souvenir shop. Because of this, we're feeling a little unfulfilled. We wanted to show you something of this. And we kept seeing this Bank of Canada museum just across the way from the Parliament buildings. We were into our last morning and had a couple of hours, so we got intrigued and decided to check it out. And plus, it was free. We got ourselves set up, and the first thing we got was a dark tunnel to go in, so we were kind of like, oh, okay, this is interesting. But as we entered, we found it to be well put together, as it talked about history and cultural influences of money not only in Canada but also in the world. At the entrance, they also gave us this wristband, which you use to set up an avatar, and this also allowed you to use the interactive displays throughout the museum. A lot of them gave insight or information about how people of certain demographics were part of the Canadian economy as a whole. In this example, they show how a restaurant owner would run his business, but also how running that business would contribute to the greater Canadian economy. Same thing with this interactive display. You would scan your wristband and then go through the steps to see how you fit into the greater system. I'm trying to remember as I'm watching this video right now, but I think this one was more driven by where you lived in Canada and how you contributed to the local economy. But it was the artifacts in the museum that really interested me. They really had some unique items which I'll be showing for the rest of this video. This one being an old cash register from 1910. You could also use the interactive displays to find out more information on a particular item behind the glass. Each item had a special number that you would enter, which would then give you various information on that specific item, as seen here. This was interesting and maybe a warning to us at this particular time. These were examples of currencies or banknotes that were used in times of high inflation. The example that I decided to choose here are the German Deutschmarks during the economic hyperinflation period of the 1920s. They were being printed at a fever pitch for the time, and as you can see here, the first mark is a 10,000 one, and they keep going up until the last one here is a 10 billion note. So it was clearly out of control at that time, and more than likely led to the darker times that Germany would see in the following years. This artifact is roughly from 2050 BC and from Iraq. It records the number of animals released from a stockade by an individual named Nansha. The artifacts on the lower shelf are a set of nested weights dating from 1782 from Germany. I'm not exactly sure how it works, but I believe they were used to measure coins in some way. From 1714, this was the first paper money used in Canada. The value was written on the back of the card and was intended as a temporary measure by the French colonial authorities. And because of 9/11 and the significance, even a bundle of $5 notes can suddenly become an artifact. This section shows how the design of money itself can change over the centuries and in different cultures. This section showed how objects of value changed among different societies and cultures. And in this collection, they have items from across the world, from the smallest cultures to the biggest cities. And it could be anything: copper, shells, beads, and other items that could be used as money or traded. This shows the process of how the Canadian Mint transfers a picture of the Queen to paper using the engraving process. This would be for all denominations that have her likeness on it. I've known about these for some time, but I thought you might find this interesting. These are paper offerings that are burned at funerals to send ancestors items to help them in the afterlife. It's quite the kit when you look at it, basically covering all bases: gold bars, paper money, credit cards, checks, and all in a Louis Vuitton case. So this was a bit of a departure from us coming to a museum like this, but we were pleasantly surprised. We did enjoy the way the museum was laid out and the artifacts they had. I also enjoyed seeing how the monetary system changed throughout the world and what certain things mean in different cultures, so it was quite good. All in all, I'd have to say it was quite worth coming to see, and it's free too, so you can't beat that.